Right, here we have a late Redditch 350 bullet which I've been working on to tune up a little, and as usual I fitted the aluminium cylinder barrel and a Meteor Miner sports piston to raise the compression ratio, and I've just gone into a bit more detail investigating something that's cropped up from time to time and given me trouble when I've done this. The aluminium cylinder barrel is listed as a direct replacement for the post 55 Redditch machines right through all the Indian 350s of this type. So whether you've got a British one or an Indian one, you can fit one of these cylinder barrels, and they do fit fine. Unlike the pre-55 ones where the engines are narrower and the pushrod tunnels are a lot closer to the cylinder and so on, which are completely different, but there's still subtle differences between the British and the Indian ones. Here's the old British cylinder barrel, the iron one that I took off, and you may not see this clearly just by me holding the camera over it like that and then looking at this one. But if we get a gasket, now interestingly, the composite head gasket here is listed for the British 350 bullets post 55. The solid copper one is just for the Indian 350 bullets and not supposedly listed for the Redditch engines, even the later ones. But if I get this composite head gasket, we've got a British cylinder head here, and I'll just tip the head over a little like that. Now the composite gasket is listed for the British bullet, and we can see that the outline of that matches perfectly to the gasket face of the British cylinder head. But I put it on here, you can see it's quite out of step with the pushrod tunnels of this cylinder barrel, and also it doesn't reach the edge of the gasket face of the barrel adjacent to the pushrod tunnel holes. In fact, it's right on the edge of them. So with the high compression ratio I've got here of approaching some 9:1, and this all being out of step, I don't really expect that that gasket would work too well. So what I wanted to do was fit the solid copper head gasket, which, if we put this against the British cylinder head, we can see that we can get everything lined up. It lines up with the pushrod tunnel holes, but again, the cylinder head joint face itself and the gasket wouldn't have covered or fitted very well between the barrel and the head. So what I had to do, I've built up this area around here on the cylinder head joint face with Devcon and smoothed it flat and blended it in with the gasket face to give me a little bit more bite around the pushrod tunnels where I think the joint might have been compromised. So I'm hoping that I'm going to use this copper head gasket with some well seal on both sides of it, which will be much more resistant and able to stand up to the high compression ratio than a composite gasket, and at the same time hopefully keep our oil in. Now I'll just put this the camera down a minute while I fiddle about and put this gasket on dry, just so we can take a look at it. I will be using well seal on both sides of it. Just put that there, and I'll put this gasket into place. This can be a bit of a fiddle, getting it over the studs. it's not quite fully home, but it serves to demonstrate that it will fit. It will go all the way home. It's a good close fit all the way around the spigot there for holding the compression, and it lines up with those pushrod tunnel holes perfectly, and it also pretty much comes out to the extreme edge of that gasket joint face there, which is what I want, as that will match up with this here and hopefully seal the pushrod tunnels as well as the compression. So that's where I'm going with that. So I'm going to get this copper gasket off now, put well seal on both sides of it, and I've annealed this gasket. Even though it's brand new, you've got to do that. Heat the thing up till it's almost red hot, cherry red, and then plunge it in cold water, and it'll become much softer and even slightly spongy and pliable, and then you'll get a really good seal with it, because it'll actually conform to any irregularities in the faces between the head and the barrel when the head nuts are tightened up, and hopefully give a good seal. So that's what I'm going to do next, is put the weld seal on it, and then I'm going to fit the cylinder head and bolt it down and see how we go.